Okay, hi. It's Friday night. I'm really tired. Not because I've been doing anything more than usual, because it's my first day of my period and I always feel like complete shit on the first day, but Stinky is here, so everything's fine. And anyway, the reason I'm making a YouTube video is because Bethany, emailed me. I thought this was a really good question, so I decided I wanted to answer this one straight away if Stinky would let me. Right. So Beth says, "Hi, I've had anorexia since I was about 10 and I'm 23 now, and I've been in recovery for about 10 years. It's proving a longer process than I anticipated, but I'm finally at a healthy, in inverted commas," and she puts that's a whole nother question, "weight for the first time. My question for you today is different to your usual question videos." Interesting. "As I said, I'm 23, but I've never been in a proper relationship. Never had sex, been intimate. I suppose I've been having a relationship too much with anorexia for too long. So my question is, how to manage intimacy after, during an eating disorder, especially when much older than when people usually start being intimate. So I'm sort of behind where everyone else my age is, and I don't exactly have a great relationship with my body. It's now heavier body is taking some getting used to, which only makes intimacy harder." That's a great question. Thank you for asking that, because I really, really struggled with worrying about this kind of thing. I was, let's just say I was older than 25 and I was still a virgin because I had never had a boyfriend. Because, my onset of anorexia wasn't until later on. I was like almost 18. I was 17 and a half or whatever. Stinky, stop. But I had just been way too interested in horses and my horse riding career and eventing to really bother with boys at all. And so I hadn't had a boyfriend before I was 17. And then I got anorexia, and I wasn't even interested in me when I had anorexia, let alone anybody else in my body, that is. So I didn't have any boyfriends. I also was completely irritable cow the whole time and didn't socialise. So it's no wonder. But I remember when it was my 25th birthday, and it just kind of like struck me how fucking weird I was. That not only had I never had a boyfriend, I'd never had sex. And because I was 25, it got to the point where it was like, when people are 17, 18, you might still be a virgin, and I guess people talk about sex and tell you all about it. When you're 25, nobody's going to assume that you're still a virgin. And so it's not like I could even... I was embarrassed. I didn't want to admit it to anyone. I never admitted it to anyone. So I couldn't talk about it with anyone. And I really worried about stuff like... So say if I did recover and if I did get a boyfriend, then like how would I, as a 20, I would have been in my late 20s, and I was, when I got my first boyfriend. Like, how would I explain that to somebody that, oh yeah, I'm still a virgin and how do I do this? And like, I just felt like I'd missed out on the whole bit when you get your first boyfriend and you start talking with your girlfriends about like how you're going to do sex stuff. And first of all, I didn't have any girlfriends either, not really. So even if I had got a boyfriend, like I wouldn't have had anyone to talk to. But I just felt like really just nervous, I guess, about the whole thing. I just didn't know how it would work out, and it worked out. That's all I can tell you, sweetie. It worked out. You find the right person, and, well, let's just say that my boyfriend, he kind of guessed. I don't think I ever told him that I was a virgin, but I think he guessed, and he was very sweet, and, waited for me to be ready and was just wonderful. I think I got lucky. Yeah, I'm straight as well, so that probably makes it easier, I think, than, I don't know if it does or not. Maybe not, actually, in this situation, but I think that it was another thing that, it's not something that, say, really, really worried me, because my attitude was a bit like, well, I guess I'll sort that one out when it comes to it. And I did. So it's not like it really, really worried me, but it was certainly an area where I just felt like I was a complete alien to everyone else around me. And that even if I said or admitted to somebody, "Oh, I'm still a virgin," they'd just be so sort of shocked by that I don't know, it just would seem very unproductive to eat. And what do you actually ask for anyway in that circumstance when you ask for help? Like, I'm still a virgin, like, so how does sex work? Like, it's not like that's really a question that anybody asks, I guess. Yeah, I think that there were what the main thing was for me is that when I did actually say get a boyfriend and I started doing sex stuff, it's like I think what I missed is I didn't have anybody to talk to about that. So say if you're, I don't know, you're a teenager and you have sex for the first time, or Stinky, stop, God, we're talking about sex, why can't you keep still? Say if you're a teenager and, you know, you do something for the first time, you probably like go to your mates the next day and be like, oh, we did this thing, this. I don't know, you probably talk about it and share it. And if you're, you know, like in your late 20s, you're not gonna like do that kind of, I don't know, like teenager exploring discussions where you just talk about stuff like that with your friends and work out what's normal and if other people feel that too or do that too and things like that. And I think that those conversations those just sort of like teenager conversations are important. And I never did them as a teenager, and I never did them after being a teenager because of my eating disorder. And so by the time I was in a place where I actually was having a sex life and maybe ready to have conversations about it, it was like there was everybody else that was my age. Sex was just old. You know, like they're already over that. They already had kids. They're already uninterested in sex. And I was just like, oh, this new thing. And just yeah, like just be like, oh, this is really great, this thing, and everyone else would be like, well, yeah, all right, well, wait until you get kids. Then you're going to think differently then. So, well, although I had those thoughts about it and those kind of like inability, I guess, to talk to people about it, I have to admit, I think I had a fantastic partner, and so for me, it really just nothing was a problem. And I can't say that I really was that anxious about it. And so I think that the most important thing for me was getting with somebody who knew about my eating disorder and can understand those things and not judge me and actually be with me for who I was rather than the fact that I might be amazing in bed. Because I tell you right now, I've had so much practice, I'm definitely amazing in bed right now. I'm just kidding. But I wasn't to start with because I had no experience, despite the fact that I was old enough that I should have had experience by that age. I didn't. And so I think being with somebody that understood that and was willing to give me a little bit of guidance was really, it was just actually really, really wonderful experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. So there's that. I do remember a family friend, because my sisters, like, we never talked about me being a virgin at the age of ancientness, but they would have known because I wasn't exactly the type of person to be running out and going on one night stands. I mean, I didn't go out, so like, I think they probably would have worked that out, that I wasn't having sex. And so one of my sister's boyfriends was a really good old family friend, and like one day we were sitting there and he's like, Tabby, are you still a virgin? I was like over 25 at that age, and I was like, yeah. And then he was just like obsessed with it. He was like, really? Oh my God, I've never met somebody who's as old as you and still a virgin. And he was just like, oh my God. Like, he wasn't like being mean. He was just completely could not get over it. And I was just like, shut up. Just thanks. Okay, yeah, shut up. I was kind of embarrassed by it. And I can understand why I was embarrassed by it. Whereas now I'd be like, that's nothing to be embarrassed about. Nothing to be embarrassed about at all. So, Bethany, it's going to be just fine. Focus on recovery. Focus on you getting comfortable in your body. I think that that's important. It's definitely something that you can work on. And don't be in a rush. And it's just, when recovery really, starts to happen, then life usually starts to happen. And relationships will come naturally because I'm sure that you are an absolutely fantastic person, and anybody who got into a relationship with you would be super lucky. And so just hold on to that and look forward to things, because sex is great with the right person, for sure. And it is definitely one of those things, I have to be honest, when your body just does its stuff, like, just knows what to do. Just knows what to do. Just so you don't have to fret about it. Like, you'll know what to do.